Hey guys, what's up? Today in this video, we are going to learn a skill which all IAS aspirants must know to clear the prelims. Most of you know the fact that even the most brilliant candidates who attempt the prelims exam will be able to answer only about 40 to 45 questions with 100% accuracy. Then how do they clear the prelims exam with a score of above 120? That answer is actually simple. All those who clear the prelims exam are actually experts in solving multiple choice questions. That's right, MCQs, and they do that by applying certain elimination techniques and intelligent guessing. So if you want to score above the cutoff marks, you must learn these skills. This will help you to attempt more questions than you would normally do. And that is what we are going to teach you in this video. First, what is this elimination technique? We know that each question has 4 options A, B, C and D, and only one among them will be correct. The remaining 3 are wrong options. Now, if you know the correct answer, you can definitely go ahead, opt that and go to the next question. But what if you don't know the correct option? What if you are stuck with that one particular question? Should you skip that question? No, you need not skip. In fact, you should not skip. Even if you don't know anything about the question, still you can answer the question correctly by eliminating the wrong options. That is the magic of strategic elimination and intelligent guessing. And this video will make you an expert in these skills. Now, you may ask a question. If I apply these techniques, won't I lose marks because UPSC does have negative marking system? The answer is no, you won't be losing marks in that sense. Not only that, you will gain more marks by using these techniques. For example, if you are to answer 40 questions correctly and leave the remaining 60 questions unanswered, that means how many marks will you be getting? That is 40 into 2, 80 marks. But you will not clear the prelims with 80 marks, isn't it? Now, on the other hand, if you are to attempt all the remaining 60 questions, in addition to the 40 correct answer, what will be your marks then? Suppose you could only answer 30 out of the 60 correctly and the remaining 30 were wrong. Then what will be your score? 30 correct answers into 2 marks is 60 marks. 30 wrong answers into 0.66 negative marks is a minus 19.8 marks. That means out of these 60 questions, you have got 60 minus 19.8, that is 40.2 marks. Now add this to your 80 marks that you have got earlier. That is 120.2 marks. This is definitely a prelims clearing score. See, what I'm trying to say is, if you want to clear the prelims for sure, you must, and I underline this word, you must attempt the maximum number of questions, and that should be not less than 90 questions. It is absolutely essential that you do this. And if you attempt the maximum number of questions, you will have to rely on elimination techniques and intelligent guessing. This video will make you an expert in these skills. Now, this whole learning session is actually presented in 2 different parts. The first part is going to be this video, and in this I will give you the different techniques and examples on how to solve those questions. In the second part, you will be given 100 practice questions that is given in a PDF format. The link to the PDF file is given in the description below. You are to read those questions and then try to solve it yourself before getting into the method of solution given after every question. All the questions given in this video are actually taken from the IAS Prelims papers. Let me also say this, these techniques will only help those candidates who have the knowledge or potential to solve at least 30 questions in the prelims paper with 100% accuracy. The more knowledge you have gained from your IAS preparation, the more number of questions you will be able to solve accurately, and using these techniques, the number is just going to go high. But those people who are trying to get some kind of a magic formula that can help you crack the IAS prelims without studying a single topic, I am really sorry, this video is not for you, nor do we know of any other strategy that can help you that way. Now, then without further ado, let's get into understanding the techniques one by one. You can go through them again to ensure that you are well versed with the techniques, because trust me, they will definitely help you get out of a tricky situation in the prelims exam.
Now, technique 1 is to think outside the box, and that can mean a lot of ways. But for prelims, more precisely what we mean is to think from a new perspective. And if you're ready to think out of the box, there are a lot of questions that you can solve which otherwise might seem very difficult. Now, as an easy way to develop the art of thinking outside the box is to be a critic. So when approaching a question, instead of trying to see if you can recollect any answer, what if you question the validity of the statements in the questions? What if you read that question and ask back questions like why? Why not? Is it possible? How? How can it be right? Or even how can it be wrong? Let me show you how this technique works with an example. The question is, the Chinese traveler Yuan Huang or Hyun Sang, who visited India, recorded the general conditions and culture of India at that time. In this context, which of the following statements is or are correct? Your statements are 1. The roads and river roads were completely immune from robbery. 2. As regards for punishment to offences, ordeals by fire, water and poison were the instruments for determining the innocence or guilt of a person. 3. The tradesmen had to pay duties at ferries and barrier stations. And the options given to you are 1 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, all 1, 2 and 3. Now, considering that we are learning in a position where you do not know the answer to this, let's see how you can solve this question. Let's take statement 1. The roads and river routes were completely immune from robbery. Now you don't know whether it is a right or wrong statement. So you can ask this one question, that is it really possible? Is it actually possible to make a road completely immune from robbery? Forget about the time of Yun Sang. Is there any road or river routes that are completely immune from robbery even today in this age and time in any part of the world? The chances are very slim. So what can we conclude from that? We can say without any doubt that this statement must be wrong. So if statement 1 is wrong, do you see that we can actually eliminate 3 different options? Option A, C and D are out. Now you definitely have your right answer to this question. Now you get the point? Even if without knowing about the time of Yun Sang's visit or without even reading the second or third statements in the question, you were able to conclude on the only option that you could actually select. And that happens to be the right answer. This is the art of thinking outside the box. This is where you're questioning the question itself to see how valid the question is. And then you can get the correct answer. Now let's go to the second technique.
The second technique is actually to look out for certain extreme statements in the question. Now, what do I mean by extreme statements? If you look at the last few years prelims paper, we can conclude that there are statements in questions that contain certain extreme words such as all, must, none, cannot, always, never, drastically, enormously, forever, only, completely, absolute, even number statements like 100%, 0%, etc. Now, please note that what I am saying here is a general rule and therefore it should not be followed blindly. When solving such questions, you should always apply certain common sense and the ability to think outside the box. So what is special about these extreme statements? The rule is that extreme statements are generally wrong and therefore easy for you to eliminate so that you can arrive at your right answer. Let me show you with an example on how this works. The question is, what is or are the most likely advantages of implementing GST, the goods and services tax? Your statements are: 1. It will replace multiple taxes collected by multiple authorities and will thus create a single market in India. 2. It will drastically reduce the current account deficit of India and will enable it to increase its foreign exchange reserves. 3. It will enormously increase the growth and size of the economy of India and will enable it to overtake China in the near future. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. And what are the options you get in that? 1 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, all 1, 2 and 3. Now, let me explain. Implementation of GST may or may not result in reducing the current account deficit. But how can we say that in advance that it is definitely a drastic reduction? So the use of this extreme word drastically will actually make the statement wrong. Now, statement 3 is also wrong with the presence of 2 extreme terms. One is enormously, second one is to overtake China in it. Now understand that with these kind of extreme terms, there is no conclusive way in which you can present that particular statement. Therefore, we can say that these statements are wrong. So if statement 2 and 3 are wrong, you can eliminate 3 different options. That is B, C and D. That means you're left only with option A, one only. And that is the correct answer. Now you get it? Before getting to the next technique, did you like this video? If so, please subscribe to get more such content-rich videos in the future. Click here to subscribe. Now, let's get to the next technique. Technique 3. It is where you're going to notice terms like can and can be in the statements. Now, in the previous technique, I informed you about what are the terms which you can see in order to recognize if the statement is wrong or not. And those are extreme terms. In this technique, I'm talking to you about more relative terms. That means if there are words like maybe, can be, rarely, most of the time, shall be and so on, then it has a higher chance of being correct. Again, this is a general rule. Now let me show you with an example. The question is, with reference to carbon nanotubes, consider the following statements. The statements are, they can be used as carriers of drugs and antigens into the human body. They can be made into artificial blood capillaries for an injured part of the human body. They can be used in biochemical sensors, and carbon nanotubes are biodegradable. Which of the following statements given above is or are correct? Your options are 1 and 2 only, 2, 3 and 4 only, 1, 3 and 4 only, all 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now see, the keyword can be are given in the first 3 statements. 1, 2 and 3 have got the word can be in it. Therefore, as per the rule, we can just conclude that they are actually correct because they are more relative and it is a possibility. Now, if you look at the options, you see that the statements 1, 2 and 3 are existing in only one single option. That is option D. Therefore, you can outrightly go ahead and select option D. And that is also your correct answer. Now, moving to the next one. Technique 4. know that if there are two options that are exactly opposite to each other, one of them must definitely be the correct answer. Let me explain. Every question has got 4 options. Now, among that 4, if you have 2 options that are exactly opposite to each other, one definitely has to be the correct one. Why am I saying it? Because if something is not true, then the opposite must be true. Let me explain with an example. The question is, an increase in the bank rate generally indicates that A. The market rate of interest is likely to fall. B. Central bank is no longer making loans to commercial banks. C. Central bank is following an easy money policy. D. Central bank is following a tight money policy. So, if you see here, you can notice that options C and D are exact opposite. So, one of them has to be the right option. So, you can outrightly eliminate A and B. Now, how do you find which among the following options C and D is correct? For this, let's apply some basic knowledge on economy. We know that bank rate is the interest rate at which RBI lends money to banks. An increase in this rate means central bank is following a tight money policy. So the answer is D. Central bank is following a tight money policy. Get it? Next. Technique 5. Here you are trying to get the correct answer from lookalike choices. So what are lookalike choices? See, UPSC is going to give you certain questions in order to confuse the students with the options given, because most of the options that you see will be closely related to each other. Let me show you with an example. The question is, which one of the following groups of plants was domesticated in the New World and introduced into the Old World? A. Tobacco, cocoa and rubber. B. Tobacco, cotton and rubber. C. Cotton, coffee and sugarcane. D. Rubber, coffee and wheat. Now, let me explain. What it looks like is a very tough question, but it is actually not. In this question, if you look closely, in options A and B, you can see that tobacco and rubber are both common. That means you have to choose between cocoa and cotton. Here, you need to understand that in the context of the question, New World means the Americas and Old World means Asia. Now, if you apply some common sense, we can ask which one came to the Old World from the New World. Was it cocoa or cotton? No doubt it's cocoa. So you can select the answer A. Now, Technique 6 is where you're going to look for word association. What is word association? It is where you're going to look for a particular keyword in the question and to see what matches more suitably with that keyword in any of the given answer options. And most probably that answer option will generally be correct. So if you run out of all other techniques, what you can do is to try this, or you can try this as an additional support to eliminate certain options. Let me explain it with an example. The question is, the term M stripes is sometimes seen in the news in the context of. Your options are A. Captive breeding of wild fauna. B. Maintenance of tiger reserves. C. Indigenous satellite navigation system. D. Security of national highways. So, what do you think is going to match the most with the term M stripes? Let's see. Among the 4 options, what you can notice is that tiger is what closely associates with stripes. So you can say that option B is the only one that closely associates with the keyword stripes in the question. So the most ideal choice for you would be to select option B. Get it? Now going to technique number 7. Here, you're going to look for possibility statements in science and technology. So what is meant by possibility statements? These are statements about which you can say without any doubt that yes, there is a possibility that this can happen in the future. There may be some technological advancements or sophistications that might arise and lead to such a possibility happening. So if you see statements like this, there is a very high chance that this is going to be correct. Let me show you with an example. The question is, what is or are the advantage or advantages of zero tillage in agriculture? The statements are 1. Sowing of wheat is possible without burning the residue of the previous crops. 2. Without the need for nursery of rice saplings, direct planting of paddy seeds into the wet soil is possible. 3. Carbon sequestration in the soil is possible. And the options given to you are 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 3 only, all 1, 2 and 3. Now, if you look at all the 3 statements, in fact, all the 3 are actually possible, right? There may be some kind of technology or some kind of advancement that can lead to all these 3 statements to come true. So we cannot refute any of the 3 statements. And the rule is that any possibility statement in science and tech is generally going to be correct. We don't know who will invent, when will they invent, and how will it happen. But there is a chance it can happen in the future. So you can go ahead and select all the 3 statements. That is option D. Now, technique 8. It is the all of the above technique. What I'm saying here is, if you have an option that is giving you all of the above, especially in the case where you have very few words in the statements, it is going to be correct. Let me show you with an example. The question is, in which of the following areas can GPS technology be used? The 3 statements are mobile phone operations, banking operations, and controlling the power grids. Your options given are 1 only, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. First, this is a science and tech question. Second, the statements are actually very short. All of them are therefore correct. Even by applying common sense, you can somewhat relate it by saying that GPS is actually used in all the three. So the answer is D. Now, moving to technique number 9, this is where you have to find the odd one out. This is a type of question where you will notice that there are 1 or 2 items that will not fall into the general group of the other items. There are certain characteristics that lead them to be out of the group. Usually the items that do not belong into the group, that is what will be the answer. Let me show you an example. The question is, due to improper or indiscriminate disposal of old and used computers or their parts, which of the following are released into the environment as e-waste? Got it? The items that are given to you are beryllium, cadmium, chromium, heptachlor, mercury, lead and plutonium. These are the 7 items that are given to you. Now, you have options that are 1, 3, 4, 6 and 7 only, 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6 only, 2, 4, 5 and 7 only, then all of the above. Now, let me explain this. If you look at all the 7, there are 2 points that you can notice. Let me go to the easiest one. That is number 7, plutonium. This is actually a radioactive element and there is no way this can be part of your computer or end up as an e-waste. So we can definitely say that number 7 cannot be part of this and it has to be out. If you just remove number 7, you can see that among the 4 options, A, C and D will get eliminated. You are left only with option B and that is actually your answer. Now, I told you earlier there are 2 points that can give you an answer. First was plutonium. Now the second one is number 4, that is heptachlor. There is a very less chance that you would have come across this particular name. So let me tell you, heptachlor is actually an insecticide. Most people wouldn't have known it, but to answer this question, you actually did not need to know it as well. Moving on to the final one, that is technique number 10. This is where you look at statements that have numerical values and let me say they are generally wrong. If you see a statement in the question that has some sort of a date or a numerical figure, then there is a very high chance it is going to be wrong. It is mostly because when you put a number, it is going to be a precision information that is given. That is easy to manipulate. Let me give you an example. The question is, with reference to Agni 4 missile, which of the following statements is or are correct? 1. It is a surface-to-surface missile. 2. It is fueled by liquid propellant only. 3. It can deliver a 1-ton nuclear warhead about 7,500 kilometers away. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. And what are the codes or options given to you? They are 1 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, 1, 2 and 3. Now, as per the rule, the statement that you should look at is number 3, where you are delivering a 1-ton nuclear warhead around 7,500 kilometers away. Now, since they have given this numerical value, you can assume that this is most probably going to be wrong. And it is actually wrong. The correct figure for Agni 4 missile is actually 4,000 kilometers. You see statement 2, even that is actually wrong because of technique number 2, that is an extreme word only. So when it says that it is fueled by liquid propellant only, it suddenly becomes questionable and you can say it is wrong. Get it? So if you just remove that, you are left with only one option, that is statement 1 is correct and option A is your answer. Now that you know the different techniques using which you can approach the prelims exam and boost your score, let's get to its application part. See, just knowing these techniques will not do the trick. You must also know how to apply these techniques and for that you should really practice. The second part of this lesson is actually that practice. You must gain sufficient practice on different types of questions and that is the only way you can really learn to evaluate any multiple choice question you will face from today. Now, to get you to practice, we have compiled 100 questions from the prelims papers of the last 8 years and it is given in a PDF. And the link to that file is given in the description below. So, what do you need to do once you get the file? Read the questions given in the PDF and try to answer the questions yourselves using the techniques you have learned from this video. Now, there is a solving method given after every question. Look for the solving method given below each question only after you have tried to solve the question, not before it. We need to learn, remember. Usually it is going to take about 4 to 5 hours altogether to complete these 100 questions. So it is not a time-consuming job. And in 4 to 5 hours, you will be learning a skill that is very essential to boost your prelims score phenomenally. In this way, once you complete all the 100 questions, you will be an expert in these techniques and it will give exceptional results for your forthcoming IAS prelims. So, what are you waiting for? Click on the link in the description, get your PDF file and start practicing. Be an expert in elimination techniques and see your score in the prelims soar really high.